Hello everyone, and welcome to this short video on my research thesis, which is titled The Role of Boundary Spanners in Cross-Industry Digital Alliances. I'd like to start off by thanking my RSE, which was led by Professor Nandkumar, who's the chair for the committee, Professor Deepak and Professor Satish from IIM Kozhikode, and also I'd like to thank Professor Thierry from the University of Antwerp, who was the external member on the RSE. I would also like to thank the TEC members with the chair, Professor M. Geeta, Professor Abhi Gobadian from the Henley Business College, for having given very constructive, supportive, and motivational comments to help improve my research and thesis. I will be extremely and eternally grateful to all the faculty in helping me in my journey to the PhD. I would now like to talk about my research thesis, which has 4 terms in it. The role of boundary spanners in cross-industry digital alliances. I would like to start from the bottom up, which is what are digital alliances? As the name suggests, it's an alliance between 2 or more organizations providing digital resources. What are cross-industry digital alliances? A cross-industry digital alliance is an alliance in which one of the partners is from the digital area and another one is from a non-digital area. Allow me to elaborate this further. Whenever you've done some online shopping, you probably bought a garment or a shoe or something from one of the e-commerce websites. And now you pay for it. You pay it using an online medium, maybe a payment wallet. And then you realize that the product is getting moved from some warehouse and comes through some logistics all the way to your doorstep. In this entire experience, there is significant amount of technology involved. The way you buy, book, and purchase the item. The second one is the way you handle the payments. The third is the way it's getting delivered to you. But then just take a step back to think about that the product that you're buying, a shoe or a garment, is not a digital company. It's probably a garment, apparel, or a sports company. Similarly, from the payment gateway, you're dealing with a bank or a financial institution who is not a technology company. And thirdly, the logistics is a trucking company or a logistics company, which is again using technology. Now, when these organizations do not have technology at its core, but they are providing some other business, have you wondered how is it that they're incorporating digital technologies into their business model in order to give you a seamless experience as a customer? And that is happening by these 2 different organizations working together to give you an end product in a seamless manner. And these are examples of cross-industry digital alliances. Now, have you wondered how these organizations, which are of a very different nature, work together? Let me take another example. You sit into your car, switch on it with a button, and suddenly the dashboard lights up with all the knowledge that you need for getting the vehicle on the road and driving it, etc. But the car is an automobile company. It's manufactured in a plant where you've got a lot of engineers, blue-collar workers producing the car. And on the other hand, you've got the technology solutions coming from an IT company or a software company, which will have maybe students which are or has computer engineers who will be working in a very collegiate atmosphere. Probably they don't even have a uniform, unlike the people at a manufacturing plant. Have you thought ever about when these 2 groups of employees from 2 different organizations sit together, how will they interact, how will they communicate, and how will they work with each other? For example, does the computer engineer understand how the car works? Probably not. Does the car engineer know how does the computer work? Probably not. They have to work together to give you as a customer and a consumer a seamless experience. Who are the people who make this happen? Those are the boundary spanners. Those in modern parlance are also known as alliance managers. And they are the people who glue those 2 organizations together in a strategic digital alliance. But can you imagine the work pressure on such people? Because the person, as we define a boundary spanner, is an individual who belongs to one organization, works as its periphery, and is the interface of that organization with the rest of the world. He is, let's say in this car example, is probably somebody from the software company who has to talk to the automobile engineers. He has grown up in a company where he's learned about digital technology day in and day out. He's probably done a course in computer engineering or something similar. And his entire social professional network, including on LinkedIn, will be with people who are from the technology domain. On the other hand, in the automobile company, You will have somebody who has been a mechanical engineer or an automobile engineer and has been working with people who are in the area of automotive mechanics. His conferences that he attends, his professional and social network will comprise of people who work in manufacturing plants. They probably have never met and probably don't even understand each other, either at a social level or at a technical level. And that is where the boundary spanner or the alliance manager is supposed to get these two people to talk to each other. And it is his responsibility, and that is the role that they play, which is the central focus of my research thesis. Now, what are the challenges that the alliance manager faces in this? He faces challenges of communication. He faces challenges of trust. She may have also issues about having the two organizations having different processes and procedures to work together. She may have to deal with a very significant hierarchy in her organization before she has to communicate with the organization on the other side. Whereas on the other side, there may be a startup or a technology firm which is very simple, nimble, very flat, and they take decisions quickly. And this can be frustrating because one organization says, I've decided quickly and let's proceed on this project. Whereas the other organization says, no, I have to take approval from 6 different levels before I can communicate a decision to you. Imagine the frustration which is there on the alliance manager or the boundary spanner when they're trying to get a project to work. There can be delays, there could be distrust, lack of responsiveness can translate into a lack of understanding that whether the other party is interested or not. There could be concerns about IP leakage also, because they might say, who owns this innovation? What if they use this innovation with a competitor? Why should I share my expensive knowledge about cars with a technology company? And a technology company would say, why should I share this with them? Yes, we are working together and there is value in the market, but what if they misuse this technology? What if they misuse this knowledge? And there would be small, simple things. The way they write, maybe the technology company is very used to collaborating on online platforms, having flexible work from home structures and sending emails across, whereas the more formal organization may want to do more things in writing, in more in-person meetings. So cultural, social, technical, and domain challenges are really where the role of the boundary spanner comes in, and they face immense rules and stresses and tensions in it, which is another core point which I have studied as part of my thesis here. So what are my key findings? What I find is alliance managers resort to a number of techniques to make things happen. They get leadership support, they try to use online tools for collaboration, they do continuous negotiation between the two organizations and the individuals. Fourth, they create proof of concepts, pilot projects, etc., which become safe knowledge spaces for the two organizations to collaborate, which builds trust, familiarity, and a lot of camaraderie for them to work together. And in all of this, they have to put in significant amount of personal equity and agency. It is because of their professionalism that they are driving the whole process forward, and they face a lot of emotional stress, a lot of professional stress, but it is their personal agency and their personal investment into making the alliance work that they're able to continuously engage and drive through various micro practices. So what does it mean from relevance to both academia and managers? My thesis highlights a lot of day-to-day practices, day-to-day activities, and structural interventions that alliance managers or boundary spanners do in order to bring both organizations together, including getting leadership support and organization support. What this means for an organization is leadership should identify such people who are good at boundary spanning and should give relevant organizational support to such alliance managers. They should also look at providing right training to them in emotional management, in terms of role stress management, also in terms of the ability to quickly learn, unlearn, and relearn new industries and technologies very quickly, and also look at how do they provide them with various other enablers to operate effectively. And lastly, they need to look at boundary spanning not with only specific individuals, but to disseminate and disperse the skills in a broader set of individuals as more and more as the world moves with the more technology-driven era. To conclude, I would like to thank you for listening to this video. I hope you found it engaging and informative. And yes, in the world, starting from the internet, mobile telephony, internet on the mobile, and AI, technology is pervading and changing a way in the way we live, work, play, and think. So technology is here to stay. How we include them in our lives is dependent on how radical innovation takes place. And boundary spanners can play a very important role in making different worlds work together by investing their personal agency in it. With that, I'd like to thank you once again and Have a good day.